Human beings who are masculine dominant are those who act in fear. And what I mean by that is this: suppose you have something like an intergalactic being, i.e., who they call the Greys, and they just approach. What do you think the first thing the army or a government is going to do? That's right, they're going to attack. Or their motto: strike first before they can strike us, no matter if they're safe or not. And that type of motto gets so many people jammed up because now not only are you signaling to every other species of their kind that you are not a safe space, you're signaling to every other species as well as anything else on this freaking planet that you all are not safe. Why do you think so many creatures right now that people see as mythical are really in hiding right now? That's because our own freaking government are willing to just be, really, our own government are just basically crash outs, especially when it comes to taking out something that they don't understand. And they wonder why so many things, really, they wonder why they're in such mystery right now. They wonder why there's certain things that they don't understand. And that's because you never go from understanding. You go off of fear and you lead with that fear. And by you being led with your fear, you're allowing everything else in the dark to not even come to the light. You want it to remain in the dark. And that is dangerous because we don't even know if someone is a potential ally or if someone's a potential freaking friend. And to that I say this: those creatures know that not all of us are like that. But they understand that the higher ups, the ones that quote unquote are above us, heavy quotes on that. 144, as I'm saying this, they understand that those higher ups are the ones that are truly gonna harm them. Because back then we didn't have the power to really stand up for them the way that we can now. And trust me, if every YN can really, you feel what I'm saying, get things shaking, just watch what just watch what the next 10, 20 years have in store for us. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, they're gonna start popping up more and more. So many people are gonna be quote unquote surprised. But that's only because we're gonna have new authority. An authority figure who comes with compassion and understanding instead of attack it first, kill it with fire. Instead of being like, hold on, if it attacks first, defend. Only use force is necessary. You don't come aggressive or passive aggressive or this, that, and the third. Because that's how you have a creature just panic. Imagine you come across a new species and you don't know them, they don't know you, but you're in their territory. You don't know if they're aggressive, you don't know if they're friendly, so what do? Both of you, not just one, both of you are getting the skin and the lay of the land. You all test the waters, but they come friendly. And since you don't want no smoke, you treading cautiously. And you start to learn that slowly and surely in those few seconds to a few minutes, they're okay. However, let's say if they're dangerous, then boom, they would instantly just blast this, that, and the third. And that's when you can friggin', you feel what I'm saying, boom, 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 or just run. And let's flip the scene to what the US government is doing and any other government doing this, where a creature is approaching them, trying to gauge if they're friendly, and yet they're just attacking, boom, 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 versus what the US think that they are actually doing. And they think that creature is coming hostile, and that's why they're coming passive aggressive to the point where they're just outright aggressive. To that I say, to all of this I say, we see what happens whenever the higher ups lead with fear. They use aggressiveness and silence tactics thereof. We also see what they do when they're scared out their minds to the point where they're like, oh my God, they're actually gonna do it. And they try to amp up the pressure. They try it, but it doesn't work. Because now they're just gonna hide it more because y'all don't want that in light. Meanwhile, you will have those new authority figures who approach with caution yet compassion, but will not be afraid to pull that trigger if need be. We come with love, but we'll protect if you come aggressive. That's how we should approach things here, because not everything is out to get us, and not everything is always kumbaya. And if you cannot come with that balanced perspective, you'll stop anything that could truly help you and your civilization blossom into something beautiful, or you'll get yourself jammed up because you weren't standing your boundaries and standing strong. You need balance in this new lifetime. Hence why I say that we don't need a feminine nor masculine dominant type of system. Neither should be dominant. They should be balanced. Because if you can't come with compassion, you can't come with the understanding of, oh, they're just scared. But if you can't come with that warrior spirit or that logical thinking type of deal, you can't have that mindset shift that'll actually help you protect those that are yours. You feel what I'm saying? And so with that, I say this. Do not attack what you do not know. Approach with caution and gauge the situation before you act, because you just might not know how much of the villain you truly are in the whole grand scheme of things. You may think you're a hero, and many people may think you're a hero, but you may be a villain and you wouldn't even realize it until you see the damage that caused from you acting on your fears. So I advise you, new authority figures who are going to take over in the next 5 to 10 years to 20 years, etc., whether here or now, approach each and every new being that tends to come out with compassion. But do not let that stop you from doing what needs to be done, especially when they get aggressive. I'm not saying they will all be aggressive, and I'm not saying that they will all be kumbaya. What I am saying is a koala is different from a tiger, and a tiger is different from a monkey, which is different from a chimpanzee, which is different from a freaking gorilla, which is different from a human being, which is different from a parrot, into which each one, their friendly and aggressive levels are vastly different. Hence why you gotta gauge the system, and hence why you gotta gauge the current situation and the context behind it thereof. Because sometimes having that attack as your defense can backfire on you. And sometimes blocking yourself out allows you to not even see the hidden enemies. Or even if you don't see the hidden enemies, because you don't need to, you're so guarded that you'll just attack literally anything, and you'll mistake an ally for an enemy. So approach things with caution, but never attack out of fear. Attack with understanding. You know you have the power, but don't let that stop you from showing compassion. But don't also let that stop you from acting when it truly matters. Because each and every situation is vastly different, especially for the needs of said situation. Because again, a parrot is different from a tiger, which is different from a lion, which is different from a dog and a cat, which is different from a warthog, which is different from a human being. Each animal is unique based on how they respond to all of us and to each other species. And if you cannot understand that, then you'll never gain the support, the aspects of intergalactic, or at the very least, multi-species collaborations on this planet. You'll never be able to do it because you never come with compassion. And each species will gauge that. Each species will be like, okay, I see that this specimen always responds to this whenever one of our own or your own always comes with this, that, and a third. So let's separate from that. Versus a brand new species that just emerges out of nowhere with freaking technology, and they're like, we gauge them. They're kind of kind. Let's let them know that we cool, we allies type of deal. And let's not get it twisted. Sometimes they'll try to manipulate, but that doesn't mean we're going to give up. That just means we got to be swifter too. Point being, you have the power to gauge whoever comes across you. So see it as an adventure and see it as an opportunity to take a challenge. Because while you're still stuck in the tutorial mode and in your victory, you could be moving on to stage 3, stage 5, stage 15, and actually seeing how far you can go and level up. You, your civilization, your family, your community, and anyone else and everything else that'll allow y'all to grow into the beautiful specimens that you all are. And so yeah, I'll leave you all with this. In life, people, animals, and everything are truly different, and they respond to certain things differently. And it's up to you to gauge the situation in a safe way so that you can remain safe for you. Sometimes that takes a risk, especially on your end. But most of the time, if not some, you'll end up being grateful that you took that risk. Because whether you got something out of it or not, the one thing that you learned was knowledge. Knowledge that you can pass on so that people can discover, learn more, and prepare. So that when it's finally time, we can put it to use. And I'm going to leave it at that. Hashem Israel was